This may piss somebody off, but here we go. I'm glad as a 40-year-old man, 4-0, I do not have a criminal history. I don't have 1,000 baby mamas around with a bunch of children around the world that I've never met. I'm happy I don't sag my pants and show my underwear around public. I'm so happy I don't smell like weed all day. There's nothing wrong with weed, right? But to smell like it every day is crazy. I'm happy to be a married man. So happy I travel outside this country. I'm happy to be a responsible, mature, critical thinking individual. It's insane to me that there's men my age who can't stay out of jail, that glorify gangster, hood, gang culture, basically, right? Immature behavior, basically. I'm happy I'm not that person, but the opposite. A mature, responsible, critical thinking individual. In 2025, the Texas flood has officially confirmed to the world that most Black Americans are indeed racist. Yes, see, gone are the days of this idea where people believe that Black Americans cannot be racist. It's not possible. BS. Complete and total nonsense. Here's the reality. Most Black Americans hate so-called white Americans. And to prove what I'm saying, all you have to do is go on TikTok, type inside the search bar this devil's name, pronounced Sade, spelled S-A-D-E. Type in that name inside the search bar, read any of the comments in this person's videos, and witness the amount of hatred this person and her followers have for so-called white Americans. They hate them so much where these people are cheering, celebrating, clapping, posting happy emojis that their children who were washed away in the flood, they're happy about that. They're happy that children lost their lives. We're talking 8-year-old babies. They are happy that children lost their lives. This is evil. This is racist. But like I said, this is confirmation, pure confirmation, that some or most Black Americans in 2025 are indeed racist. Double standard 2025, let's go. So, it's okay for Black Americans to have the NAACP. No one has a problem with that. It's racist if Caucasian Americans have a NAAWP. They're not allowed to. It's racist. Black Americans have affirmative action. No one has a problem with it. It's racist if white Americans have affirmative action. They're not allowed to. It's racist. Black Americans are allowed to have a all-black television network called BET. No one has a problem with that. But everybody will have a problem if Caucasians have a all so-called white television network called WET. It's racist. They're not allowed to. Black Americans are allowed to have all black colleges. No one has a problem with that. But so-called white Americans are not allowed to have all white colleges because it's racist. They're not allowed to. And that's the double standard for 2025. Wow. So this post may piss off some people, but here we go. Why is it okay for so-called Black Americans to basically be excused for owning humans, aka slaves? Yeah. At some point in history, Black Americans also owned humans like everybody else on earth in the old days. We had so-called Black American slave owners too. And back to the question, why is it excusable, right, for Black Americans to own people? Society seems to excuse that. There's never a conversation about that ever. It's almost like it's off limits. But here's what's not excusable. So-called white Americans for their participation in owning humans. For some strange reason, society loves to shame and drag so-called white Americans for their participation in owning people, slaves. So black Americans get a pass of owning people, but so-called white Americans do not get a pass of owning people. Make it make sense. But these are just some of the disgusting double standards in 2025. And that's why I continue to expose this nonsense, because if you're going to have the same anger and energy for so-called white Americans for owning people, my thing is you should also have the same exact energy for so-called black Americans for owning humans as well. So let me get this straight. It is acceptable whenever a so-called black American says, I'm proud of being black, right? That gets celebrated whenever black Americans are proud of their so-called race, which is being black, right? But it is the complete and total opposite for so-called white Americans when they are proud of their so-called race, which is being white. Yeah, everyone has a problem with the white American being proud of being white. That gets labeled as hateful or racist when white Americans announce that they are proud of being white. Why is it okay for everybody else, Hispanics, Asians, so-called black people, to be proud of their race, but that same respect can't be given to the white American for them to be proud of their race? That's a problem whenever they are proud of being white. What is going on, man? Why is it like this? It is so disgusting. If you can be proud of your race, if you're so-called black, Asian, or Hispanic, I think it's okay for white Americans to have the same exact pride for their so-called race as well. Why the hell not? In 2025, so-called black privilege is way stronger than so-called white privilege. Let me explain. See, black Americans are the only people I know in this country, the US, that can literally walk up to anybody and call that person the N-word and nothing happens to that person. Nothing happens to that so-called black American for saying the N-word. No consequences, no punishment, zero. No one else can do that besides the black American, literally. Black Americans are the only people I know that can broadcast to the entire world that their business is black owned. And no one has a problem with that. No consequences, no punishment, nothing happens to that so-called black American for just broadcasting my business is black owned. No one else can do that besides the black American, literally. Black Americans are the only people I know that are receiving grants or some type of funding just for being so-called black. Yes, you receive free grants and some type of funding, maybe for your education or maybe to start a small business, just for being black. No other so-called race has that privilege but black Americans, just for being so-called black. Black Americans are the only people I know that can scream to the top of their lungs, black power, I'm black and I'm proud, you know, Black Lives Matter. No one will have a problem with them saying this. No one. No punishment, no consequences for saying such a thing. No other so-called race can do that but the black American. Black power, Black Lives Matter, I'm black and I'm proud. Black Americans are the only people I know that can say, I love to be with my people, my culture. I love my people. No other so-called race can say or do such a thing because you'll call them a racist. But black Americans can do that freely, literally. Let's not even talk about Section 8. Let's not talk about food stamps. Let's not talk about families being on food stamps or Section 8 for generations upon generations. This is black privilege. We can do whatever the hell we want and no one else can. But for some reason, for some stupid reason, people think white privilege is a way stronger thing than black privilege in 2025. You are delusional.
Color me surprised when I ran across this guy's video content. And again, I could have made this, 2 hours long going through some of the videos and stuff that he wanted to state. Shout out to anybody who was around when I did the live stream, when I specifically went over, the videos and everything of the sort. And I found out quite a few things, right? Number one, as stated before, even in a live stream, I stand 10 toes down directly on it. All of his content is trash. 100%. He is on this whole vegan thing, quote unquote, working out, eating healthy, and lifting weights and talking this, that, and the third, and all this other type of stuff about health and working out. Nobody cared. Not even his own people cared. That content wasn't really moving, wasn't nothing really happening. And as I stated before, when it deals with the angles of which people decide to take when it deals with videos and pictures, you gotta question who specifically are you trying to get to your content, right? Who specifically is it that you really want to pay attention to? Right? And as I stated before, just like in a live stream, a lot of these types, what tends to happen is that when their normal content, when the stuff that they really want to talk about ain't working, it ain't jiving with nobody, right? They decide to do what everybody else does. And they're like, oh, I'm about to sit up and start talking about Black Americans. I'm about to start talking about this, that, and the third. I'm going to start bad-mouthing them. I'm going to start browbeating them. Notice how he wanted to list the negative stereotypes about Black men and women. Black women got thrown in there because he wanted to say, 1,000 baby mamas, right? Basically mean that a person is sleeping with 1,000 Black women just out there, just going to and from and all this other type of stuff. So in general, he has stuff to say about the Black community, but being very, very specific, he wanted to specifically only talk about negative stereotypes, something that's been perpetuated throughout the world. Right? Doesn't matter if it's the media, doesn't matter if it's by way of fashion, doesn't matter if it's by way of music, doesn't matter if it's the news or, other types of narratives that other people want to fixate on or carry directly with them. And I want people to pay very close attention to how it is that a lot of people, not even just him, but a lot of people always want to clutch on like it's a pair of pearls, like they're Martha and Thomas Wayne in Crime Alley and they know what's about to happen. It's the craziest thing how people want to hold on to things that realistically they should just let go, right? It's stuff that don't mean anything. It's stuff that's not really going to add. It's not stuff that's going to actually progress. And realistically, we should, in a sense, free ourselves from that and focus on the positive things of people. None of these individuals know how to actually focus or list positive things about the Black community. In order to state that they are different, that they're on a whole nother level, they have to do a comparison. Somebody has to be on the lower end of the totem pole, and they're not going to place themselves or their people there. They'll make sure to always have a version, an image, a theory, a picture, some audio, whatever it is, of a Black person doing something negative somewhere in the world so that they can do a compare and contrast, a night and day type of situation to basically say that, oh, this is how much more better and educated and more well raised and cultured that I am, that I don't do the same exact things as Black Americans and all this other type of stuff and yada yada yada. But mind you, Black Americans, all they do is this and that. They gangbang, they guns, and they do rapping, they do shaking their butts all over the place. That's some crazy work. And this is how I know that in a great many of the instances that I look at content like this, that these people are not Black American. So as you can clearly see directly in front of you, I was able to find images of his significant other, right? It's him and the wife that he chose. Anybody notice anything here? I'm just wondering if it's just me, that if anybody else just so happens to notice anything about this situation. Now, a lot of times people would just so happen to say that love has no type of color, it has no type of designation. You love who you love and all these other types of things. That is true, right? People can just fall in love with anybody it is that they just happen to want to fall in love with. But again, I have to point out all of his videos and how it is that he specifically spoke highly negatively. He made a point to speak always highly negatively of Black Americans and to always uplift or quote unquote give the talking points of white folks. He wants to basically uplift them. He wants to propel them. He wants to pedestalize them. He wants to worship them, right? He wants to try to be a new talking face when it deals with white America. He wants to be the specific one to give out the information when it deals with white America and how it is that they feel. He wants to be the mouthpiece for them because he feels that white Americans are weak and they can't represent and actually speak for themselves, represent their own points. Like, as I said in the live stream, the problem that I have with this is that a lot of white folks will eat this type of rhetoric up and not understand that they are being played. He doesn't 100% even care about what it is that y'all go through. He don't care how it is that y'all actually realistically feel or any of those types of things. Because if he really did, he would have actually got with a white girl to solidify that point, to solidify that he is 100% on that side. He got somebody that was white-like, but he didn't sit up there and go out there and get a white girl. That's not specifically what it is that he did. So again, you know, he wants to waver in between what it is that he's talking about versus how it is that he moves and the actions that he specifically takes. But again, people like him, these immigrants, because clearly in the picture you can see that he stated that he was raised on Haitian music, right? He was with a kitchen, had his wife blindfolded, and they were testing out, and she was supposed to figure out the Jamaican or the Caribbean drink. I, as a Black American, don't know anything about Jamaican or Caribbean drinks. The only thing I can probably list to you is cola, or aka soda pop, or pop, as I like to sit up there and say. Shout out to Detroit. That's the only thing I can list to you. I don't know anything else about their drinks or what it is that they drink or what it is that they do. I don't. But he obviously does, which then leads me to believe that he clear cut is not a Black American, even though he wanted to, you know, kind of dance around the notion on if he is or if he isn't Black American. At some points he would like to say Black Americans, other points he want to say we, other points he want to say they. He wants to dance around a lot of these words in hopes that people are not paying attention fully, so that people will just think that, oh, this is a Black man, he's a critical thinker, he's this, he's that. So obviously he's not like the rest of them. He made it directly out the hood, and now he's here to sit up there and say this, that, and the third, and tell the truth. He's doing this just to solely get money directly out of white people's pockets. Like I said, he's playing the game. He's 100% playing the game, and you have white people out there on this platform really hyping him up as if he's doing something, as if he's doing something brand new. Like I said, we didn't have Candace Owens for like 10, 15 years. She been doing this. Realistically, her and a few others were the first ones to, in a sense, do it. So I'm not sure what he thinks that he's, in a sense, doing. A lot of this is old. We've been heard it before. You're regurgitating and saying the exact same talking points that Candace Owens have already said for like 10 years. I need you to get a new bit. I need you to start writing a brand new script, because this is tired. This is tired. And again, to the white folks out there that may just so happen to follow this dude, you got to really question yourselves, because this is what I got from listening to his content. Everything was solely fixated on you and trying to talk for you and to try to point things out as if you're a child, as if you are too weak and you don't know how to, you know, traverse or navigate any of these waters and stand up and speak for yourselves. That to me speaks as weak. The moment in time that I even sense that white folks need somebody like him to represent and basically talk for you, that's problematic for me. Because like I said in live stream, at no point in time in history did I ever look at all of the things that white people have created, right? We got the White House, which is white. just by namesake, right? We got the government, we got all of the presidents, right? We got the defense budget, we got all of those representatives directly in government, and you got all the other things that y'all established in the United States, right? All of that, in a sense, speaks to a type of strength, right? So the moment in time that I see this happening, this is speaking severe weakness, and I'm not understanding why you guys allow this type of stuff. I understand if you got other white folks out there that are speaking for you, being the talking head for your points and your opinions and the things that you really want to say. Cool, got it, no problem. You got somebody like you that represents the community, knows the community, that's just like you on the exact same wavelength. No problem. Cool. The moment in time that y'all slide and start allowing this to happen because you think that this is a gotcha moment, the real gotcha moment is that this dude is making money directly off of you, while at the same time of him trying to do this kind gesture, he's making you look very weak. That's all I'm saying. And that is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. He is making you guys look like victims. He's like, well, you know, black people are able to do all of these things, but white people can't do anything in America. White people can't even walk around. You know, white people don't even have, there's no such thing as white privilege, but this black privilege that's up here, it dwarfs anything that people can ever consider to be, you know, white privilege, and blacks do this and whites could never do. Word? When have y'all ever been victims? Right? Like, dealing with the system that has been created and controlled pretty much solely by you. When have you ever been victims, like historically speaking, in the United States? I can't really give you one. I can't, like, I really, for the life of me, I can't really give you one. I'm not sure if people can really understand what it is that I'm getting at, but I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. For the white folks out there, this is not a good look. However you think that this is a positive look, that you're really sticking it to the black community, you're not. Like I said before, at one moment in time, people used to sit up there and fear y'all. Right? Y'all had people sitting up there like looking directly down at the ground. But the same people who you instilled fear directly into are now the people or the persons that you're having be the voice box for you, that are supposed to be the front man, the defensive lineman for you. That's wow, how the mighty have fallen. That's the best way I can put it, how the mighty have fallen. But like I said before, people like this are 9 times out of 10 not even black American. They want to masquerade, they want to dance around, they want to be in the culture or around black people, but still in a separate bubble at the same time. And the moment in time that they establish themselves and they finally solidify something and make something out of themselves, this is when they want to try to stand out and do this. Look at me, I'm different from the rest of them. I am not the same. Look at me. That's all this is. He's clamoring for some type of attention or monetization when it deals with white folks directly out there. That's why all of his content completely shifted from dealing with being vegan, sitting up there working out, going out there jogging or doing miles, and all this other type of crap that he got directly on his platform. That's exactly why, because not even white people were interested in what it is that he had to say about health. But they're very much interested when he decided to make the topic about black Americans. Like I said, people know where to go and where not to go if they want to make money. Black Americans will always be a hot topic. We will always be the ones that can, you know, be there for people to just say whatever and make money and monetize and do whatever it is that they want to sit up there and do. And like I said, that within itself is a problem. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I listened and stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.